like drawing cards? Okay. Do you like searching cards? Okay. Do you like hard once per turn effects? Probably not. But how about paying life points to activate hard once per turn effects, making them not hard once per turn effects? Sounds good to me. How about getting those life points back that you spent paying all those life points to activate those hard once per turn effects? Essentially making it free. Yeah, sounds good to me. Do you like dark fairy type monsters? Do you like locking your opponent out for special summoning monsters as well? Yeah, Darklord is definitely the deck for you then. Alright, so this is my Darklord deck. So let's just jump right into this. First off, we are running 3 copy of Darklord Itchel. So all of this new Darklord support all has this weird effect to where you pay 1,000 life points and you can activate a Darklord card, spell or trap, in your graveyard, shuffle it back to the deck, and basically that monster's effect becomes the spell and trap cards effect. All of the newer Darklord stuff has this effect, so for the remainder of this I will not explain that, if I can remember to. Her other effect, though, is you can discard her and another Darklord card and send them to the graveyard and draw 2 cards. So she is your Pot of Greed for the deck. 3 Indulged. This is one of the newest cards. She doesn't have the 1,000 life point effect, but when she is normal or specialed, you can take 2 Darklord monsters. You special summon one to your opponent's field. You add the other one to your hand. They have to be different levels. And then for the rest of the turn, you can't activate monsters except for fairies, but this is a pure fairy deck, so that's not really going to hinder us all that much. So we are going to run 2 Superbia. I was running 3. He kind of clogs a little bit. I wanted to add a little bit of tech choices into this deck. He's one of the old school OG Darklords. Came out back in the GX era. So when he's special summoned from the graveyard, target a fairy type monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Just a fairy type. 2 Darklord Nastin. He's one of the newer ones. He has the 1,000 life point effect. His other effect, his in-hand effect, is you can discard 2 other Darklord cards and just special summon him. He's pretty good. I was running one of him, but he actually helps load the graveyard up for all your spells and traps that you need, or just if you want to get that Superbia to the graveyard. We are running 2 Tezcatlipoc. I believe hopefully I didn't butcher that name. He's another one of the new ones that has the 1,000 life point effect. His in-hand effect is a Darklord monster I control would be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can discard that card and basically protects all your fairy monsters from getting destroyed. 1 Darklord Morningstar. This is your main deck boss. He doesn't have the 1,000, even though he's one of the newer ones. He can't be special summoned, unfortunately. When he's tribute summoned, you can special summon Darklord monsters from your hand and or deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. He's really good with another card going first, with another card that we'll see here in a little bit. While you control another Darklord monster, your opponent cannot target this card. You cannot target Morningstar with card effects. And then once per turn, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Darklord monsters on the field. That counts you and your opponents. And if you do, gain 500 life points for each Darklord card sent to the graveyard by this effect. So he is one of your life point gains. He kind of mitigates all that life point cost that you're paying to activate all these Darklord monsters' effects. One Amdusk. He's pretty good. I've seen a lot of people run multiples of him. I only like to run him one just for the name, to special summon if I need that extra. If I need that extra monster, because all these ones that pay 1,000, you can only summon them once per turn, so you can't summon multiple Ixchels or Nastins per turn. You can only have one, so he's just good for the name, for that 1,000 life, just to get that extra effect if you absolutely need it. His hand effect is you can discard this card and one Darklord card, then target a Darklord card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. He's pretty good. If all of the spells and traps weren't hard once per turns, he'd be a little bit better, but that would make the spells and traps a little bit broken. So he's pretty. I think he's good at one. I wouldn't run more than one of him. And then one Capricious Darklord. This is one of the cards that goes really good with Morningstar. So during the main phase, quick effect, you can activate this effect, tribute summon one fairy monster face up. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy type monster on the field until the end of the turn. You can only use it once per turn. So with her, when you summon Indulged, I believe what they want you to do is summon Capricious to your opponent's field, and then you can add a Darklord card to your hand. And then if you have the enchantment in the grave, if you can special summon one of the ones that do that, you can take control of that Capricious, and then you can activate, or then you can activate her effect, and then you can tribute summon, because she allows you another extra normal summon in the deck. So for the draw engine, we are running the Star Seraph package. So we got 3 Scepter. When it's summoned, normal or special from anywhere, you can add a Star Seraph card or monster from your deck to your hand, except for a copy of himself. And then Xyz monster that was summoned using 3 or more monsters, including this card, gains an effect of when there's a Xyz summon, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. And if you do, you can draw a card. Don't really Xyz a whole lot with it. It's mainly in there for the extra draw power, for the extra, just for the engine, for the draw engine in here. I'll mainly just link off the other 2, which will be Sovereignty. Cannot be used for material for an Xyz summon except for an Xyz summon using 3 or more monsters as material. And then if you normal special a Star Seraph monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon him from your hand. If you do draw a card, then you can special summon it if it's a Star Seraph monster. 1 Lord Christia. I don't think this card really needs any explanation. For those who don't know what it does, it basically stops your opponent from special summoning monsters. So they can't kaiju you, or you can special summon her straight from your hand if you have exactly 4 fairy type monsters in your graveyard. Stops both opponents from special summoning anything, which is fine. I'll usually like to bring her out whenever I have, pretty much when I have OTK on the board for next turn. Bring her out, try and get her out turn 1 or get her out on my opponent's turn. And if she would be sent from the field to the graveyard, you place her on top of the deck instead. Fortunately, that is mandatory. We're running 3 Banishment of Darklord. This one is Rhoda for all of your Darklord cards. Just adds any Darklord card from your deck to your hand. You can only activate it once per turn. You can only activate this card, 1 Banishment of the Darklords per turn. All of the Darklord cards that have the pay 1,000, they bypass this hard once per turn effect. So you can activate Banishment, add that Ixchel. Ixchel, discard it and another card, draw 2. If you have another Darklord card on the field, or if you get one on, you can activate its effect, pay the 1,000, activate the Banishment, send it back to your deck, and then add another Darklord card. Just bypasses the hard once per turn. Darklord Contact is our next 3-of spell. This is Monster Reborn for Darklord monsters in your graveyard. Special summons them to defense. If you activate, say, Nastin or Ixchels or any of the other ones that have the 1,000 life point cost effect, and you target Contact, and then Contact does Superbia, it will miss the timing, because the last thing that happens is the Contact is being sent, not Superbia being summoned. Superbia has to be the last effect in the chain to summon, or it has to be the last thing in the chain to get his effect. 3 Allure. This is a mainly dark deck, and you don't really mind banishing stuff because I play a lot of multiples of stuff. Draw 2, banish a dark monster. Most of it's dark. So 1 Reasoning. Opponent declares a monster level 1 through 12. Activate the top cards of your deck until you activate a monster that can be normal summoned or set, which is everything except for Morningstar. If that monster is the same level, you send it to the graveyard, and then if not, you special summon it. Helps load the graveyard with all those spells and traps that you can just send back to the deck for their effects. And since there is a myriad of different number of different levels in here, you have 4s, and I believe Capricious is a 3. Capricious is a 4. You have 4s, 3s, 6s, 7s, 10s. You have all sorts of different numbers. So the odds of your opponent getting it right are pretty slim, but even if they do, it doesn't really hurt it all that much, because you really want a lot of these in the graveyard. Especially say they call 8 and they hit the Superbia, that's fine, because you can just get Superbia back. If they hit A, if they say A and you hit Christia, that's fine, you can get Christia back later. So it doesn't really hurt the deck all that much. 1 Trade-In. I was running multiples of it back when I was running 3 Superbia, 1 Christia, Darklords Dorado. And I kind of thought it was okay to run at least 3. Picked up my Star Seraph engine, so I decided to kind of tweak this a little bit and add that in there. So the trade-ins had to come out. Since I'm only running 3 level 8s in here, which is the Superbias and the 2 Superbias and the 1 Christia. I don't really think 3 is all that much, because it's kind of bad if you draw it without the level 8. 1 Monster Reborn. Target a monster in the graveyard. Special summon it. Everybody knows what this card does. 2 Darklord enchantment. You set these cards. You send a Darklord monster either from the hand or face up on the field. Take control of 1 monster your opponent controls until the end phase. Does not target. That's pretty good. If you can, like I said, I think with Capricious, the combo is to get Capricious on your field, get the enchantment in the graveyard, so you can just either do it during your turn, or you can set the enchantment, flip it, discard a card, take the Capricious's effect to tribute summon the Morningstar on your opponent's turn. Kind of helps set up a little bit for another future card here in a second that we're going to get to. 2 Darklord Rebellion. Again, send a Darklord monster from your hand face up on the field to the graveyard. Destroy a card on the field. Does not target. Does destroy, but doesn't target. 2 Darklord Uprising. This is one of the newest traps in the set, or in the archetype. Send a Darklord monster. Fusion summon a dark fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand and or field as fusion material. Then you gain life points equal to the original attack of the monster sent to the graveyard to activate this card's effect. So this gets you your big extra deck boss monster, which we'll see here in a little bit. But of course, I mean, you can any dark fusion, but I'm only running 1 dark fusion in this deck. So just little spoilers for heads up. And then 1 Sanctified Darklord. Gate the effects of an effect monster on the field until the end of the turn, and gain life points equal to its attack. Non-targeting. Also, another thing is, if any of these traps that say, all these traps say send a Darklord monster, if you target one of the traps for one of the 1,000 life point cost effects of the Darklord monsters, the effect is copying the effect, not the cost. The send the 1 Darklord monster is the cost. So if you target the traps, you don't have to send a Darklord monster or from your hand to the graveyard. So kind of helps keep that hand. This deck already uses so much of your hand anyway. So getting these effects off without having to pay the cost, which I guess you're technically paying the cost by paying 1,000 life points. But so yeah, you don't have to discard the monster to activate the traps via the monster's effects. We got 2 Condemn Darklord. I love this card. I was so excited when this card was announced. I was hoping that they would give Darklords a Link monster, or at least some kind of really good fairy type Link monster. So this requires 2 fairy monsters, which is fine. So I guess this is technically generic fairy support, but, you know, kind of helps the Darklord strategy a little bit. You can tribute summon fairy monsters that require 2 tributes by banishing 2 monsters from your graveyard instead of tributing it. And it's still considered a tribute summon. Any monster in your graveyard doesn't have to specify doesn't have to be fairies. They don't have to be Darklords. So, and I can tribute any of the any of the extra deck monsters, the Star Seraphs, really anything. 1 Appaloosa just helps with that negation if we absolutely need that negation. 1 Saryuja. Really don't like using him unless I can go into his 4 ability, his 3 and his 4 at the same time, because you really need that extra draw. Slap that Christia down if you got it, or you know, just kind of helps. I really don't like summoning him unless I can go into the 4 ability with him. And then 1 Herald of Mirage Lights. 2 monsters with the same type and attributes. All the deck is fairy, and it's either light or darks. Triple first Darklord. This guy is nuts, in my opinion. Really good for the deck. Glad he came out. Generic 3 dark fairy types. 4K. He's really good. Opponent can't target fairy type monsters you control with card effects. So if this card is fusion summoned using Darklord Morningstar as material, you can destroy just board wipe your opponent. Just destroys everything on their board. Second effect is during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points, special summon a fairy type monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. That doesn't put him in defense mode, or it does put them in defense mode. I really like using him with Superbia, sending the Superbia to fusion summon him, and then activating his effect, pay the 1,000, get the Superbia, and the Superbia get the Christia. Now your opponent's locked out. That's just an extra way of getting Christia on field. So it's not a full 15. I'm still working on the extra. So I've just thrown in some generic rank 8s and all that. So I'm planning on running the Galaxy Eyes package. I think I need Cypher. I need Cypher Dragon, and then 1 more of the Galaxy Eyes, the ones that can just stack on top of each other. And then we got Hope Harbinger and 1 Dan Gearsu. I'm still working on the extra deck. It's not just for utility, really is all. I don't summon a whole lot out of the extra deck unless it's Condemn Darklord and First Darklord, just because they're the best monsters in the extra deck. The other stuff's in there just for utility. So that is my Darklord profile. Hope y'all guys liked it. I enjoy this deck a lot. I love running this deck. Nobody on the team really likes playing against it, but no, them's the breaks. All right, so I'll see y'all guys at the combo video. We'll see y'all guys next time.